everyone. Nice to meet you today on our podcast in conversation about self-development with Nagawa, writer of Master Your Future. Before starting our conversation, I will give Nagawa a chance to introduce herself. Nagawa, mic is yours, and nice to have you today.
Um, hey everyone, my name is Nagawa Michelle from Uganda. I am soon to be a graduate of surveying and geomatics engineering. I am aged 22, but I'm making 23 soon. I am the author of Master of Your Future, and I'm super excited to be here and to share my experience and anything that we shall have to discuss. I don't know if there's much there's more I should say, but I think that's a brief about me.
We are so excited too. So, as you mentioned that you wrote this book to help people in your own age to change their perspective to our life. So, what does helping people means to you?
Helping people can come in very different ways. Usually, we have stereotyped helping in the aspect of financially, but then over my growth, I've realized that helping people can be both mentally, socially, like the scope is very big. You can help someone academically.
Okay.
So we limit ourselves to helping people just because usually it's about the money. But you can have the knowledge, you can have skills that can uplift someone. You
Mm.
can have let me say
Yeah.
the network that can
Mm.
help another person.
Mm.
So helping is a very large. It's no longer limited to a certain scope, at least in my understanding over time, from the books I've read, from my experiences, from the people I've interacted with. It's really huge. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. You grow up in three main districts in your country. Do you think that different people and environment places build a human?
Most definitely, because if you are in one setting or one environment, you're limited to thinking in that perspective. But when
Yeah.
you diversify,
Mm.
you're able to learn different cultures, learn how people, do different things. That's why people are encouraged to travel,
Mm. Mm.
learn how the world operate because you can learn so much from
Mm.
people and get a new perspective towards life. I think that's what happened to me. Growing up in Ginger was great. I mean, my childhood encompassed, having so much fun in the streets, being a free spirit, just meeting people and living, I would say, the best
Yeah.
life I had.
Mm.
Coming to Kampala was more of the education, the being hardworking,
Mm.
always thinking out of the box, yes.
Mm.
Mbara being my village is more of your roots,
Mm.
your upbringing, family, and also all these different components have built me to be who
Okay.
I am. I just know I'm different because I've given myself the chance to always look out for difference in cultures, learn from people, see how what works in my life and what doesn't work. So yes.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. So,
Yeah.
Nagawa, your life was a little bit complicated. So, do you think that challenges you faced in your life built your personality today?
Yes, most definitely. You can never know life until you go through something. I always tell my friends that different experiences or different things we go through in life will teach us different things, right?
Mm. Mm.
So I can't say I've gone through the worst of life. I've had my challenges somehow, somewhere, and these have been able to shape me to be different and to look at life in a positive aspect, to always be optimistic because
Mm.
challenges are going to come. Even today, as we are having this podcast interview,
Mm.
something could happen in a few hours. But I like that these challenges have shaped me to be stronger, to just not give up and to just think the best and find a solution to what is happening. Because usually when things happen to us, we are quick to,
Mm. Mm.
start thinking
Mm.
very bad of ourselves. We begin feeling low. And yet that is the opportunity. I learned somewhere that from everything, find the opportunity in it. Is it a
Mm-hmm.
good thing? Is it a bad thing? There is an opportunity. So having that perspective towards life or towards the challenges that I've faced has helped me to grow more, has helped me to develop, and yeah,
Mm-hmm.
shaped me.
Okay, okay. So that means every challenge we face, every day, every week, teach us how life is going.
Definitely, because we do not know what tomorrow holds, do we?
Yeah.
You do not even know what's going to happen at 2 p.m. So, what happens is being positive, hoping, and having so much faith. So, when the challenge comes,
Mm.
instead of looking at it as a challenge, you look at it as an opportunity to find something better. Or because sometimes there have been times where I've maybe applied for different opportunities and I didn't go through, right? So, the one thing that can happen is me losing hope and feeling bad about the whole situation.
Mm.
So instead of that, I would rather look for individuals that have had a chance to win such competitions. I understand, okay, so how did you apply? How did you do this?
Yeah.
And you realize maybe you didn't write well, you didn't write the essay well
Mm-hmm.
or something. And in that way, that's the opportunity. You get better at what you're doing. And in the end, if you follow the advice and keep doing, not giving up and keep working, you really get the opportunity that you want. Because
Yeah,
in the end,
absolutely.
I've applied and I've won. So that is the opportunity or perspective I was encouraging, individuals in my book to have.
Mm.
Life is not going to be simple. Life is so difficult. That is the truth.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
How
Yeah.
you look at it, how you engage with different things matters and makes the whole difference.
Mm.
Yes.
So, Nagawa, you mentioned that all of us we have to know art of believing in yourself. What does it mean exactly?
Um, we have so much potential
Yeah.
as young people,
Mm.
as young professionals,
Absolutely.
as change makers, as young leaders. We have so much potential. I didn't realize that until the whole entire pandemic happened, and you had a time. We all had a time to
Mm.
pause and
Mm-hmm.
think about life. You know, so it happened that okay, some of us were in school, so school was closed up. We had to go home. What's next? Do you sit down and slack? Do you be creative? Do you tap into your different talents? So in the art of believing in yourself is understanding that you have so much capability to do a lot. You have the potential to make the difference that you always cry, because usually we have watched maybe shows and
Mm.
there's climate
Okay.
change, there is violence in families and stuff, and these are concepts that touch us deeply, right?
Mm.
So by the time something speaks so closely to you, you should be
Mm.
able to have something you can bring on table. It does not mean you have to go and be a president of a country. No, you could write
Mm.
an article
Mm.
that someone can read and be encouraged. So
Mm.
you believe in yourself, you believe in the talent, you believe in the cause, you believe in the
Mm.
fact that you
Mm.
are put on this
Mm.
earth
Mm.
for a purpose. Because
Mm.
we all have different talents and
Mm.
we have focus so much on trying to maybe survive and move through life instead of living through life with a purpose. And that
Okay.
is what I keep encouraging people.
Yeah.
Live life with a purpose. Like do something such
Mm.
that you shall remember that you know what?
Mm.
Michelle was here and yeah, she did this and it was impactful and you're remembered for something. Leave a mark stone, leave a footprint that that others can pick up from. It doesn't have to be big. When I
Mm.
was writing Master of Your Future,
Okay.
I had in my goals I had it around 2030. But
Okay.
then an opportunity came. I realized there's an opportunity, there's a pandemic. I already have the material. I have an idea of what my first book should look like. And I went for it.
Mm.
Now, most people might think you write a book for the finances and all. But
Mm.
this was more about exposure, putting the story of me and very many young people that are doing so much, that have believed in themselves and I'm making a difference.
Yeah.
And it's going well. And I'm glad that when I shared it with you, you were like,
Yeah.
thank you, Michelle. It's a very good book. And that is
Yeah.
what we
It's
are
a
looking
very,
out
very
for.
great book. Yeah.
Yeah, so that is mainly it. When you believe in yourself, you're able to move mountains. You do things that you thought you're not capable of. So we need to have that attitude as millennials because the
Yeah.
world is changing
Mm,
and we have to keep up with the fast pace it's moving at.
absolutely. Yeah.
Yes,
So you mean that if you plan to do something, you firstly you have to believe in yourself. You can do this something you plan it.
exactly. And it's important,
Yeah.
to always have these plans, have the objectives, have a work plan on how to execute
Mm,
those plans or goals or your vision. It's an entire process. We can't rush it,
mm-hmm.
but we can stage it up, and at
Mm,
different levels you can accomplish something. It's the small steps that matter. You can't
yeah.
jump from A to Z. It has to be A to B to C, or
Mm,
1 to 2 to 3. But those little steps increase the count and make the impact that we so desire, right?
yeah.
So put a plan across. You want to do your masters, you want to travel the world, you want to be a blogger, you want to be an author. That is a great plan. And no one should tell you you can't do it, you know?
Yeah.
If you want it, you go for it. It won't be easy. It's not easy that, oh, I
Mm,
want it, I have it. No. You will have to put in the work. But you want
mm-hmm.
it, you go for it. So do the necessary work that is required, make the connections, do the research, um, get out of your comfort zone. I think sometimes what limits us is the comfort
Mm-hmm.
zone. We're
Yeah.
so comfortable in our bubble that trying to get out of it is so, people don't
Mm-hmm.
want, they're too comfortable.
Okay.
But what you need is actually out of that bubble. You have to get out and reach out for it.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, well, I'm curious about why you choose this name for your book. What does it mean exactly? We all know that writers always have a hidden story or agenda behind their book's name. So have you
Mm.
also?
Indeed, because as you're coming up with a book, I don't know for other writers, but you create a manuscript first, create the content.
Okay.
Um,
Mm,
so the title is literally the last thing on your menu, right?
mm,
But as I said, I'm
mm,
a young leader in society. I love community empowerment through youth
mm,
involvement. That
mm,
is basically my vision. I just love when young people that have so many great ideas come together.
mm,
And then I realized that as a young leader, I was doing so much. I was doing so much. I would do community outreaches, would go visit the young people in hospitals that have cancer,
mm,
would encourage students
mm.
in school, aspire them and all. But there
Okay.
was a level of fulfillment I wasn't getting to. There was
Mm-hmm.
a missing link, right? And so I took a pause and I wanted to understand, okay, what is happening, Michelle?
Mm,
You're doing so much, but you still don't feel like you're doing a lot. And so I thought about my life and everything
mm,
and realized, you know what? I think I need to take charge. I need to take a step back and take charge and first think about everything that has happened. And in the process, I
okay.
realized I am taking charge of my life and putting everything in perspective, and as becoming the puppet master. Puppets, you have the master who is making the whole show for the kids, but those puppets can't move unless they have someone controlling them, right?
Mm,
So when you take charge of your life, when you take charge of everything, you
mm,
become a master of
mm,
your life, master of your future, your past,
mm,
your present. You cannot blame anyone for anything that happens in your
mm,
life. That's one thing I've learned. Everything that happens is up
mm,
to you, and
mm,
you are there, you're in the equation. So do not do a blame game. Take the
mm.
responsibility, take charge. So I was like, okay, it's really important if I brought a
Yeah.
perspective of
Absolutely.
why we need to master our future as young people.
Mm,
And yeah, and that makes sense, yeah.
mm, mm. So, master of your future means that plan for a good or a professional.
Yeah, of course,
professional
it's
future?
not professionally as such, but it's
Mm.
more of use all yes, use all your
Organized, let's
past
say organized.
experiences, use your present self so that you can take charge of what happens in the future. As I said, this entire thing is a process. So do not discard everything that has
Mm.
happened in your life. Simply align the lessons, the experiences, what should be kept,
Mhm.
what should be left behind. And in the end, there's the way you're taking charge of your future because everything we decide and do shapes our future, right? Today, after this podcast, this is why I happened. I wanted to
Yeah,
always have
yeah.
exposure. So if my friends from Sudan are able to read my book and get a perspective out of it, I knew maybe interview will come along, and here we are having a podcast interview.
Yeah.
So I shaped everything with a perspective of having such in my line of future. So I took charge. I can't say anyone else did this for me. I'm sure I know I was the ringleader. So
Mhm.
that is what the perspective is like. Take charge, do all the work and everything. In the end, the future really will look bright because people have worked hard. People do not just sit down and wish and hope. Maybe they are lucky, but you have to put in the work. You have to work hard.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Mhm. So let's jump to another point about success journey. We know that it's not limited to certain age group. One of my friends told me that she's getting old to do medicine specialty exam. So how we could encourage those people who say it's getting too late, we can't start our success journey.
A
We
good
getting
point,
old.
but I feel that's someone's perspective. You need to change someone's mindset. Um, in Master of the Future, I'm sure I wrote about creating
Okay.
meaningful mindset. Uh, when you sit down and say that, you know what,
Mhm.
in 2 years, I should be, I should have my own company. Hmm? I should have
Mhm.
my own farm. That is so different from
Mhm. Mhm.
in. I will write a book when I'm
Mhm.
50. That's so different. And that's in the mindset. So even when your body is capable or your mind is capable of
Mhm.
doing what you want in 1 year, you gave it a time frame of 10 years. So there is a way everything is tuned to that, you know? So I feel everything goes back
Mhm.
to someone's mindset.
Yeah.
We can't exactly, you can change someone's maybe physical appearance or anything, but you can't change who a person is in the inside. And that is what we need to tap into. You need to, as I said, people need to trust themselves. People need to believe in who they are. So if you want a success journey now, why do you want to postpone it to 50 years? Get it now. That means work hard now. Because if you, there's
Mhm.
so much, I really, when I read Jack Canfield's book, I think it's called The Success Principles, and I encourage people to read it. He said
Mhm.
something
Mhm.
about stop
Okay.
limiting yourself.
Mhm.
You put a timestamp on your life. Why do you do that? When you have a lot, you have people.
Mm.
You know, no, you see,
But we have to know
what I'm
our
saying is,
limitation,
of course, there's some
Nagawa.
things we
Or
can't do.
uh-huh.
Now, right now, I'm an engineer, right? So I'm not going to go to a hospital and want to treat people.
Mhm.
That is a good limitation. It's valid. I didn't
Yeah.
study that, but I can read
Mm.
about it
Mm.
and know if I went to a hospital, I say I'm feeling this way and
Mm.
that way, and I'll be treated. But for your success journey, for things that you have put down as
Mm.
your goals,
Mm.
we always use the
Mm.
time factor as a
Mm.
constraint. You know, you always have an opportunity. For example, if you have an
Mhm.
opportunity
Mhm.
to
Yeah.
be a guest speaker and you have a connection that can get you to that,
Mhm.
instead of using that line, you put something in your head like, you
Mhm.
know what? I think I'm still too young. I'm
Mhm.
just 20. Look at all the other speakers. They are 30 and above and all. But you have the opportunity,
Mhm.
right? So that is a limiting factor that is not valid.
Mhm.
Recently,
Yeah.
we're going to have an annual general meeting for surveyors in Uganda,
Yeah.
and I was a FIG grant winner. I won a grant to represent my country in Senegal.
Yeah.
So last year we were supposed to have the meeting, but COVID happened, and so it was cancelled, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then this year it came up again. So a couple of weeks
Yeah. Yeah.
back, I
Mm-hmm.
sat and thought, you know what, Michelle? Last year you had an opportunity where you were going to speak, right? And it
Mm-hmm.
didn't happen, but there's still another opportunity now. And I reached out to whoever was organizing and all, and it was really quick. They're like, "Oh yeah, you
Mm-hmm.
actually were supposed to present. Yeah, you can actually come back on board and everything." Now, the limiting factor would have been one. I would be like, "Oh, I'm still a student. All these guys are working. What will I say? Or what do I have to do?" Two, I'll be like, "Oh, they won't agree because, of course,
Mm-hmm.
COVID. We have numbers for people that are allowed to show up and things." Three, my age as usual, I'm like 22.
Mm-hmm.
These guys have had experience of 10 years. Now you see the limiting factors I'm putting across, my dear. So those are very,
Mm-hmm.
very hard to, they shouldn't even be there in your head. So I just changed my mindset. I was like, you know what? Give it a try. Because in the end, the fact that you tried, you're already winning. Now, if you didn't
Okay.
try, then you actually have lost.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to encourage
Mm-hmm.
everyone in your success journey, always remember the fact that you have tried is already a win. There is no guarantee that you're going to go through or pass or get what you want at the time, but you have tried, and that puts you way across the bar from all of us, the other young people that are sitting on ourselves and just like sitting back. Let me wait for 30, let me wait for 40. When you want to lay a foundation, you can start small, start young. It's okay. You have energy now, you have the ideas, you have the friends, you have the ability to use all kinds of technology. We have the
Yeah.
phones, the laptop, the different. Yeah, that's what I was trying to say. I'm not saying that we can't have
Yeah.
limiting
Absolutely.
factors. We do,
Yeah.
that are genuine sometimes, but the ones that are put in our head all the time are sometimes too much and they exceed the limit. So we need to tone that down. We need to reduce on that. Yeah.
So during the COVID-19, all we faced change around us in ourselves and communities. The big and important question here, as you mentioned, in we will be the same after the period, or we would have achieved and done something better for ourselves. That is put us front of important question, where you will see yourself before period time 5 or 10 blah, 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 blah years. Should we be ready and plan ourselves to this change?
Our COVID can't leave us
Or
the
what do you think
same.
about that?
Um, in the end, we are all now going virtual
Yeah.
meetings, virtual class, virtual something. Everything is now digital, you know.
Mm.
So it's in the
Virtual
end,
anything.
innovation has
Yeah.
heightened. Sorry, people are looking at life in an innovative way. We do not want to be caught off guard anymore,
Mm.
and there are 4 10 years, things are going to be different. I feel like the movies you watch when the robots are up in the air, the cars are
Yeah.
floating, and all that. I feel like that's the trend we're getting because innovation increased. They people came up with very many different things we didn't know what were
Mm-hmm.
capable of having. So you cannot. I would not expect
Mm-hmm.
anyone, particularly as the young people,
Yeah.
to live this era
Mm.
the same. You have to be different, and you have to have positive difference in you.
Mm.
Meaning, have you
Mm.
improved? Have you gotten a
Mm.
skill? Are you
Mm.
better at
Mm.
something? Have you, r-
Mm.
probably done an online course to add onto your resume? Have you need to add something because there are those that
Mm.
were closed, but there are those that were opened. Now it's really up to us to have tapped into those doors.
Mm.
I personally took on very many online classes. I invested in learning more about my profession. I wrote a
Mm.
book. I did very
Mm,
many meetings. I don't know. I just kept skilling myself. So if we get that
mm,
kind of
mm.
attitude, even in 10 years, you
Okay.
should be a young person that can exceptionally stand out, even without, saying much about yourself. You should be
Mm,
able to stand out because of all the good
mm,
you have done for yourself, for your community, of course, such that you can easily be pointed out from the crowd. So we can't be the same, and we should not be the same. What we need to do is just keep looking for
mm.
opportunities, keep researching, keep
Yeah,
vibrant,
yeah,
really. Yeah. Yes.
yeah. So we should have answer to this question. Where do you
Yes, that's,
see
that's a good
yourself after
question.
5 or
That's a very
10
good
years?
question. But 5 to 10 years, um,
Okay.
yes,
Uh, before you reply to my question, have you a long
I have a long-term
term
goal,
plan?
but
Have you?
a long-term goal is
Yeah. Yeah.
basically
Go ahead.
to make sure that I leave my community better through two things particularly that I'm looking out for.
Okay.
One, I have to make to
Mm-hmm.
create my
Mm-hmm.
foundation. Now, this foundation is basically for the young people to skill us, to share knowledge, to have boot camps, basically to develop
Mm-hmm.
the young people and have young people develop fellow young people. It's a plan. It's in the pipelines.
Mm-hmm.
Now, secondly, is my profession. I really want to have a firm that specializes in geographical information
Mm-hmm.
systems because I believe the the technology we are having in our world is
Mm-hmm.
helpful for
Mm-hmm.
different problem analysis issues we are having. So if we can tap into it and make sure that we have a better way of addressing problems in society as far as engineering is concerned, yeah. But then of course there's
Okay.
short-term goals within those that can help
Mm-hmm.
me reach there, right? Then the 5 to 10 years.
Yeah.
So in the end, when you look at 5 to 10 years, hmm, I really
Mm-hmm.
thought that's an easy answer, but I
Mm-hmm.
realized we shouldn't force it, right? We shouldn't force it.
Uh-huh.
I cannot just run and say in 5 years.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I can actually say in 5 years I should have this, but
Mm-hmm.
there are so many. I actually realized I have a goal book. It has my goals, my plans, my
Mm-hmm.
vision,
Mm-hmm.
everything. So in that, there's so much between now to like 5 years time. I should be able to have my second book. I should have okay, I should have done my master's. Probably think about the family aspect. So in 5 years, I should be
Mm-hmm.
established. I should be strong and should have achieved a level of success that helps me
Mm-hmm.
to be an
Okay.
inspiration to the young people. The details for that require to probably write them. But it's a really, I understand when people are
Mm-hmm.
interviewed and you see someone stare into space, they're like, hi, 5 years, 10 years, what? Also,
Uh-huh.
it's more of taking a day at a time. And so, okay, maybe I hope by next week I've achieved this, and then in 5 years when you reach there, I hope we can have another, podcast and I'll tell you
Mm-hmm.
what I am then in 5 years.
We hope you all succeed in your life. As young people, Nagawa, we have to know that not everything meant to us, because all we have a different dreams, vision, also ways to solve the problems.
Indeed. I should comment on
Yes, please, Mike is yours.
that. So, in
Tell me more
life,
about that.
we all have different dreams. If you ever get a chance, or if anyone gets a chance to sit down, you realize that yes, as much as you want to be a doctor, your brother might want
Mm,
to be a chef, and then another person might want to be an engineer. So those are different goals, yeah, in life. And then that means your vision will be different,
mhm,
and your goals and
Mhm.
everything you want is actually different, because in the end, as I said before, we have different talents, we have different ways we
Mhm.
view the world, we have different things that make our hearts tick, you know. We have different aspirations, we can't all have the
Mhm.
same.
Yeah,
So
yeah, I know.
um it's uh
Mhm.
it's how should I put it, it's just how life is, you know.
Mhm.
The fact that we can diversify and have all these different
Mm. Mm. Yeah.
needs or views towards life helps us operate the
Mhm.
way we do, because in the end we need the engineer to help us make the trains or the cars
Yeah.
or whatever, to help us transport. We need the farmers or the agriculture people to grow things so we can eat and have energy.
Mhm. Yeah.
So it's really fine, it's okay to have
Mm.
different aspiration and dreams, because we can't have
Mm.
the same, it's not possible. But in the end, you can have a different, I mean the same
Mm.
output that you want to see, right? Because in the end, as a doctor, you want to help the sick and help people feel better. And then
Mhm. Yeah.
there are organizations like
Mhm.
Doctors Without Borders, right? These are people that are helping the community. These are professionals that are going out to different parts in the world that do not access enough health care. And in the
Mm.
end, they're actually empowering those communities and sharing their knowledge
Mhm.
and all.
Mhm.
And as engineers, you
Mm.
can also do Engineers Without
Mhm.
Borders. So in the
Mhm.
end, you
Mhm.
can have a result that you want to all see, but it does not mean we all have to
Mhm.
be in the same field. That can be possible. And
Mhm.
you should never feel bad about having a different
Mm.
view or needs or perspective towards life. It's okay. It's you. Just embrace it. Yes, you
Yeah.
embrace it, you work on it,
Yeah.
and make sure
Absolutely.
that in the
Yeah.
end, whatever you're choosing should be helpful to
Mhm.
you
Mhm.
and the community. I think I really love uh, growing up. I
Mhm.
understood the need to
Mhm.
always know that yes, you are in this world, but you can't be in this world
Mhm.
well alone. So make sure that your neighbors, your friends, whoever you're around, they're all also okay. So, but then as you grow up,
Mhm.
your circles or your center of influence increases. So that puts the aspect of community in my talk a lot.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So,
Mhm. Yeah. So let's talk about our thoughts. As you mentioned, that our thoughts and mind will tell us who we are. How we could care to our thoughts to figure out who we are, and how we could use our thoughts to determine our vision in life.
okay. Well, that's
Yeah.
a personal journey,
Yeah. Yeah.
but from my experience, um, it's more.
Mhm.
I write a lot, by the way. I write every little thing. I write when I'm happy. I write when I'm sad. I write when I have an idea. Yes,
Mhm.
yes, I do.
Okay.
Yes. So
Okay. You have a big
when you
history.
are going through this soul searching or realizing your vision, you have to know yourself as a person. You have to know your strengths, your
Mhm.
weaknesses, what you love doing,
Mhm.
why you want to be impactful. You know, you have to know all those little details
Mhm.
about yourself, because no one is going. Okay, your friends can of course tell you what they see, but in the end, what they see should be able to speak to you to realize,
Okay. Okay.
okay, yeah,
Mhm.
if they say I am a go-getter,
Mhm.
makes sense, because
Mhm.
yeah, I love doing things. I love looking for the little things. What helps me here and there,
Mhm.
you know? And uh then you look at a world
Mhm.
you want to see. What world do you envision
Mhm.
as you?
Mhm.
If you sat down and said, okay, Michelle,
Mhm.
you're the president of the world, what
Mhm.
do you want to do?
Mhm.
That should also tell you
Mhm.
something. So it would open your mind to
Mhm.
envision what is
Mhm.
happening. I love when, you know, young
Mhm.
people are out there making the impact. You know, you see when you go online and search about
Mhm.
all the young people that are doing great,
Mhm.
you find a child of 10
Okay.
years has a foundation to collect funds to help his fellow
Mhm.
young people do
Mhm.
this. And
Mm.
that's the world
Mm.
he envisioned.
Mm.
That's what he saw. And there is no one that sat down and told him, okay, now do this foundation. Honestly, no one does.
Yeah.
That story you always say is I
Mm.
sat down, I saw my friends were not well,
Mhm.
and so I decided to do this. So in the end,
Mhm.
you just need to sit down. I
Mhm.
encourage people to write a lot because in the
Okay.
end, you're able to read these things that you write and
Mhm.
they always remind you of what you want in your life. So you sit down, you write all these things, and they'll help you define the direction you want
Okay.
to take as far as your vision is concerned.
So you mean that people around us, their thoughts matter to determine our vision in life?
Most
Also, their
definitely.
thoughts matter to
I
us to
was told, that
determine
that
our vision.
saying of tell me your friends and I tell you about you,
Yeah.
or tell me about your circle, birds of the same feather flock together. So
Okay.
yes, so
Yeah.
we cannot say that the people around
Yeah.
us do not help
Exactly.
us
Mm.
or do not
Mhm.
are not factors in this direction of getting a vision.
Mm.
They most definitely are. We would say they are the external factors because usually we
Mm.
have internal and external
Mm.
influences, right? So internal entirely up to you. You're thinking about everything about your
Mhm.
life and everything. External influences can be experiences, people you've met, your network, your probably career, your goals and the like. So definitely these individuals we have in
Mhm.
our lives can help us
Mhm.
shape what we want to see or what we want to be
Mhm.
or our visions. They are really great influences indeed.
Mhm. Okay. So, also, I'm curious about why we shouldn't keep our dreams secret. Look, I'm not from people who keep their dreams secret, but I also want to know about that. You mentioned that in your book. We shouldn't keep
I think my
our
perspective
dreams
towards
secret.
that was majorly in the direction of we miss out on so many things because
Yeah.
we don't communicate, you know? If you want to
Okay. Mm-hmm.
get a certain scholarship or and that's your dream, or you want to attend a certain
Okay.
conference and that's your dream, unless you let one or two people know,
Mm-hmm.
that will
Mm-hmm.
only stay in you. And even when there are options that can
Mm-hmm.
help you achieve all this, you won't be able to know about them or see them. Yes. So
Mm-hmm.
your dreams, letting
Mm-hmm.
people know about your
Mm-hmm.
dreams helps
Mm-hmm.
them realize, okay, when they get an opportunity to get something that can help you
Mm-hmm.
in your journey, they'll be able to share. Because recently, I always tell my friends, me, I love youth opportunities. So you find that when they come across a certain
Mm-hmm.
link, their message would be that, Michelle, I saw it somewhere and I thought of you and I knew you were capable to at least try and
Mm-hmm.
apply. So you see, I
Mm-hmm.
think the dream, okay, that I made my dream
Mm-hmm.
vocal, I communicated, and so there are opportunities that can actually come to me
Mm-hmm.
through my friends, through my
Mm-hmm.
lecturers, through my colleagues, through my entire network.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I was saying. So if you want something,
Mm-hmm.
wanting
Okay.
it is one thing, but
Mm-hmm.
executing is another. And in executing, there's not
Mm-hmm.
a direct solution to it.
Mm-hmm.
So if you let one or two people know, they will let one or two people know, that will let one or two people know. And in that network, you do not know where your solution will come from, but at least I'm sure it will
Mm-hmm.
come from somewhere because you told people. But if you keep it, people don't know what you want. They don't know what you dream of. They do not know what you want to be capable of. So you need to
Mm-hmm.
let them know. Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. So our dreams and thoughts, kind of personal branding,
Indeed.
we have to share
Indeed,
them to
that's it.
let
So we
people
have
know
to
who we
let
are.
people know so they
As
know who you are.
yeah,
They know what
yeah,
makes you excited. They know what we
mm.
want. They know what you are driving
What we
towards.
want
They
also. Yeah,
know all that. Yes. Uh,
Okay. Before we close our conversation, Mike is yours again, Nagawa, to give us short overview about your book and what encouraged you to write such a great book. Thank you so much to give us this chance to discuss uh,
I'm really
self
honored. Thank you for
improvement, self
giving me this
development. Thank you so
opportunity.
much,
And
Nagawa.
Master of Your Future is basically for the young people. And I'm choosing young people mainly because that's the prime of our life. That's why
Hmm.
we are trying to decide and trying to understand. Okay, so yes, I'm
Okay.
done with school. I'm getting out of my father's house or my mother's house.
Hmm.
So this is life, you
Hmm.
know. So we shouldn't miss out on all that we can do now just because
Yeah.
we have seen people do things at 30 or 20 or 40, and then we think, oh yeah, I think that's what should be done. No, life is different
Hmm.
now. Things have changed. So I encourage people to tap into who
Hmm.
they are. I encourage people to share their stories and look out for
Hmm.
realizing their goals and knowing themselves for who they are, such that when
Hmm.
they get out into the world, you are not swayed and taken off track.
Hmm.
You know who you are, you know what you want, you know your dreams,
Hmm.
you know your goals, you know what you're looking out for in
Okay.
life. And no matter what comes
Hmm.
along, this journey is so hard. There are going to be temptations, there are going to be
Hmm.
challenges. Very many things are going to come along the way. But the one thing that you don't is to give up. Don't give up.
Hmm.
And then I also encourage guys to realize that there's so many things you're going to learn, feedback from people, circumstances are going to happen, but don't let them change who you are. Don't let them change who you have finally realized you are. You get, because if you do, then you're going to lose out on everything. It's like having an equation, but if if the water
Yeah.
or the
Yeah.
hydrogen is not in the equation, we don't have water anymore.
Mhm.
So do not let people change who you are, and look out for yourself and the
Mhm.
community. Ensure that in everything you're doing, you have someone in your mind. Is it your sister? Is it your friend? Whatever I'm doing, how does it help them? How
Mhm.
does it help us move forward? I had a conversation with
Mhm.
someone recently, and they were telling me, Michelle, if you look at your friends, what have they done for you to take you forward? You know, look out for people
Mhm.
that elevate you and
Mhm.
not derail you. And
Mhm.
you yourself should be
Mhm.
that
Yeah.
kind of person. Do not be the kind who is always taking from people.
Mhm.
Be a giver. And then it's important as young people for us to
Mhm.
communicate. There's so many opportunities out for
Mhm.
us, but because we do not communicate, people can't know. You know, people want to know what you need. So, Master of the Future, and the good thing about the book is not that I was saying I have solutions to things.
Mhm.
It was more of, this has worked for me, this has worked for this friend, this
Mhm.
has worked for this other person. They have not exactly made it yet, but they have achieved the level of success, and they're moving forward and doing good for themselves. So don't wait for years or 10 years, or, if you have an opportunity to do something now, take the chance, do it. If it doesn't go well, refine yourself, then come back, do better, and keep the
Mhm.
process going.
Yeah.
And I'm really grateful that you took a chance to read my book, and you loved it. And I'm grateful that you're giving me this opportunity to come and share my experience or share my ideas about the different perspectives. And it's great. I really hope that in the end, we have a generation of young people that are
Mhm.
exceptionally standing out and doing the things that we thought are impossible. They are there actually, but I feel like, particularly in Africa, we need to tap more into it. The developed countries are doing well, but Africa is,
Mhm.
and let's not limit ourselves.
Yeah.
The one thing I
Absolutely.
also saw
Yeah.
is, we should be ready to take on knowledge. I love
Mhm.
competing in international competition. It doesn't matter if it's in energy sector or
Mhm.
is it in finance. If I can do it and just do
Mhm.
something and compete, I look out to getting the knowledge, the experience, and then I use that to help me as a person be better in an aspect of my life. So if we looked at life in that way, we would stop limiting ourselves
Mhm.
from very many things because we're capable of doing so much, Yeah.
Well, on behalf of our audience, thank you so much, Nagawa, to give us this chance to share your knowledge and expertise with us. Also, we are so glad to have you as a guest of our of the week and sharing with us advice about self improvement. Thank you so much. Bye bye.